Hello, my name is Ian Whistler and I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm a third year undergraduate student here at Western Michigan University studying design and technical production within the Department of Theater. My WMU signature pathway is diversity and inclusion, and my PEAT project was supporting and educating students regarding hormone replacement therapy, otherwise known as HRT. As a transgender man, it is important to me that the community that I live, work, and breathe in is one that's open-minded and inclusive of others. We have a lot of students who identify as some variety of LGBTQ in some form or another and don't realize or even know that WMU has resources for them that provide safe spaces for them to thrive within their own identity. Even our Office of LBGT Student Services has meetings that are catered to those with certain identities who should have the space to get together and meet with others just like them. We have our Trans Thursdays, our bi-weekly PAN meetings, and Pose for people of shades exclusively. We also have our registered student organization, Outspoken, for WMU students to come together for our weekly meetings to either just chat, play games, or have important presentations or discussions. My PEAT project was to give a presentation to our Outspoken organization about hormone replacement therapy. We have an abundance of students here at WMU who find themselves questioning their identity or looking to pursue means of medically transitioning so they can feel comfortable in their own skin. I had to also navigate researching and learning about HRT all by myself when I was younger, and the changes that happened all at once were overwhelming, and my family didn't know how to support me with what I was going through, which was essentially a second puberty. There are students at WMU who are going through those same exact things that need support networks and talk about the things happening to their bodies, as well as making those who are hoping to support their loved ones going through this transition is aware of exactly what will be happening and how they can help. It is very easy to get into the mindset of nobody knows what I'm going through when it comes to transitioning as a transgender student because you don't relate to your cisgender peers or even your other queer friends. And I've always made myself open to anyone who has questions regarding being trans and how my HRT affected me and how my overall transition has affected my life as well. When it comes to educating others like me and their loved ones, or even those who are curious, it becomes personal to me. Most of my work with WMU Signature has been through volunteering for events like Outspoken's Fall Fat Fest, or attending meetings like the organization runs weekly for students to attend. Ever since my freshman year, about 3 years ago, I've been going to these meetings every week and I've hardly missed any, save for ones I had to miss for my academic work in the theater. This presentation felt like my way of giving back to those who are also looking for those experiences like I've had in the past. A majority of people I know and work with are also part of the LGBTQ community, so there's a lot of crossover between the two, of who I know within Outspoken and who I know within the Department of Theater. However, even in my world away from Outspoken, I am always met with some form of question about myself and my transition. So I eventually came around to getting ready to give this presentation on HRT. I invited those people who I work with to come see what I had to talk about, especially those who I work with who are also trans like me, so they could give their own personal experiences to the rest of the students in attendance. I believe that creating an environment for students, especially trans students and their friends and families, to be comfortable enough to have an open conversation about the fundamental part of what many transgender people go through with HRT. It is extremely important to foster the diversity and inclusion aspect of the WMU Signature Pathway, not only with projects like these, but overall in every department or event on campus. Creating these spaces for marginalized groups to have their questions answered and have their experiences understood by others is a rarity that not a lot of people seem to get. We had a wonderful turnout the first time we held the HRT presentation and had gotten great feedback and questions about HRT and its effects on the mind and body. Students looking to get into HRT now knew what changes they would be experiencing. Students who are already in the process of going through HRT and had questions still were able to ask and get answers. Some students were able to provide their own personal accounts of their transition, and those who didn't identify as transgender but were interested in learning got the experience that they came for. The same thing happened during our second revival of the HRT presentation, wonderfully enough. We had students actively engaging in the content and asking questions, and even other members of the organization offering their insight into how HRT has been affecting them since they've started the process more recently. It was a much smaller group session the second time since it was held over Zoom, but the majority of Outspoken's members were first-year students or those who had transferred here, so we got to present to some new faces. In the future, I might want to prepare better for setting up a presentation like this over virtual software, since the vibe kind of hits different from this group if it's not in person like it was originally the first time. My hopes for the future is that either I could return again next year to revive the HRT presentation once more to students who need access to important information about medically transitioning. I would like to expand on the presentation as well to include information on legal name changes and surgeries too, as these are also vital changes that a transgender person may go through in their lifetime if they choose to do so. After I graduate, I would either like to return for meetings and maybe even branch out to other organizations who are interested in having me as a guest, as some of this information isn't entirely easy to Google. Although the majority of my career path lies with theater, creating a safe space for people to ask questions and gain knowledge about a vital part of a transgender person's journey is something I think I will always find passion for, as it affects me personally. And from these past presentations, I can only hope to grow and expand my knowledge along with everybody else.